We all love vampires. Whether you're into Twilight, a huge Nosferatu fan, or you yourself have a love for blood, one thing is for sure: Dracula is the king. To be honest with you, the first time I saw Count Dracula, he was literally counting, and I was drinking chocolate milk out of a sippy cup watching Sesame Street. But has anybody ever wondered, who is Count Dracula? Was he even real? Are vampires real? Well, obviously they aren't, at least as far as I know, but what is real is someone who actually resembles the Count. Want to know more? So do I. Does anyone know where I can find a video on that?
You're watching History and Beyond. If you enjoy the video, leave a like. If you enjoy pie, make sure to subscribe. You won't regret it. We like pie here.
Okay, so first let's talk about where the name Dracula even came from, so we can get that out of the way. Dracula is the name of a Gothic-style horror novel created by the Irish author Bram Stoker in 1897. The novel introduces our guy, Count Dracula, and tells a story of his attempt to move from Transylvania to England in order to find more blood and spread his undead curse. It also involves a real estate agent, a professor, some drama, and a whole lot of blood. But this novel's special. This novel's the reason you're watching the video right now. It exploded. Thousands of vampire stories and Dracula renditions were created. I mean, it made it to Sesame Street, for Pete's sake. Sometimes it's cool to stop and think about that stuff. My man Bram's got some serious clout. If you don't feel like reading his book, but you do want a current version of the tale, try Netflix. They recently added a fictional series about it. Alright, so anyway, Bram Stoker, Irish guy, created Dracula, novel, blah blah blah, it's a big thing now.
But you want to hear about the actual guy. Let's get into it. If I mention the name Vlad the Impaler to you, you would probably have no idea what I'm talking about. So, let's talk about Vlad the Impaler. First of all, this is him. Good God, does he need to shave that mustache. But I have to say, the hat is pretty cool. Vlad the Impaler was a Walachian prince who lived during the 15th century. Why is he called Vlad the Impaler? If you haven't figured that out yet, just hold on, we'll get there. While it is known that he was born in 1431, it's not entirely clear where. Historians do know that he wasn't born in a castle, or to be more specific, he wasn't born in Bran Castle, which is coincidentally known for being Dracula's castle. You can even visit it today. Historians aren't even completely sure if he was born in Transylvania or not. The possibility is there, however, so let's just say he was. Also in 1431, Vlad's father, whose name is also Vlad, was introduced into the Knightly Order of the Dragon by the King of Hungary, Sigismund. If you're fluent in Old Romanian, you would know that the word Drac means dragon. Therefore, Father Vlad adopted his new surname, Dracul. Also in Old Romanian, son of Dracul translates to Draculia, hence the name Dracula. Alright, so again, Big Vlad is knighted, changes his name to Dracul, little Vlad the Impaler becomes Dracula. What's particularly scary about this, though, is the fact that in modern Romanian, the word Drac refers to none other than the devil. So there you have it. Vlad is Dracula, Dracula is the devil. But little Vlad the Impaler? Let's talk about that. Like most psychotic killers, Vlad III was screwed up from a young age. It all started with a meeting that went wrong. Father Vlad had a meeting in 1442 with the Ottoman Sultan Murad II. His mistake was bringing his two sons with him. The meeting was a trap. While Big Vlad negotiated his release, Little Vlad and his brother, Radu, were held as hostages to ensure their father's good behavior during the ongoing war between Turkey and Hungary. The two brothers weren't treated terribly, though. They were tutored in science as well as the arts. Vlad even trained to become a skilled horseman and warrior. Seems like the Ottomans were pretty reasonable. Despite this, however, Vlad still understandably hated being held captive. While in captivity, though, Vlad lost his father while he was fighting to keep his seat as voivode of Walachia. His half-brother, Mircea, was also killed by the same local nobleman. In 1448, Vlad embarked on his campaign to take back his father's seat from the current ruler, Vladislav II. Lots of Vlads here. With the help of the Ottomans, and due to Vladislav's absence, Vlad was successful. This was short-lived, though. Vlad lost his seat as soon as Vladislav returned. Alright, so 8 years later, Vlad is no longer a fan of the Ottomans, Constantinople falls, and King Ladislaus of Hungary is not a big fan of Vladislav. Vlad is proclaimed voivode of Wallachia just like that. Okay, so again, I'm not sure if this captivity and losing the father thing turned him into an evil maniac, but something did. So I mentioned that there was a conflict for the seat of voivode of Wallachia. Well, the surrounding nobles, otherwise known as boyars, were sort of the main group in conflict with Vlad and his father. So, upon taking the throne, Vlad did what any good ruler would do and invited them all over for a big banquet. and then he had them all stabbed and impaled. That's right, he had their bodies impaled on large wooden stakes, and thus we have the name Vlad the Impaler. But it doesn't stop there. Vlad even went as far to have dozens of Saxon merchants impaled as well for the terrible crime of being allied with the boyars. Around 1456, when an Ottoman envoy was visiting Vlad, they declined to remove their turbans, citing religious custom. That's pretty reasonable if you ask me, and apparently it was to Vlad too. In fact, he found it so reasonable that he made sure their turbans would never be removed and had them nailed into their skulls. So time passes, the Ottoman War continues, and the Ottoman armies finally reached Walachia in 1462. When they came to the capital city, they were greeted by a few impaled bodies of their Ottoman prisoners on the walls, courtesy of Vlad. So I'm not positive, but there might be a reason that they called him Vlad the Impaler. What's strange to me is that Vlad III, although regarded as harsh, was actually celebrated to be a great leader. Even Pope Pius II apparently was impressed. After reaching the capital city of Walachia, the Ottomans continued to press in their war efforts in the region, and Vlad was forced into exile. He did eventually marry, have 2 children, and was able to take back his throne in 1476. His return to power was actually desired by the local boyars, and he received help from the voivode of Moldavia, Stephen the Great. Vlad was finally killed shortly after in an ambush on his way to battle with the Ottomans. There's much controversy over the location of his tomb, but okay, I'm not even going to try with these names. There's 2 possible churches, and he's buried in one of them. One of them's called like Snagov, and the other one is Komana. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, there you have it. Dracula is his real name, from a real person who loved to impale people. Unfortunately, no blood-sucking or undead curses here. But if you are looking for that kind of stuff, try American politics. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching History and Beyond. You see that fire? It's fueled by you. Make sure to like and subscribe. And make sure to tune in next week so you can learn more and more and more and more and more until you're so smart that you can take over the world.